30,000 feet in the air, one flight attendant made a choice. Step back and let chaos win, or step forward and protect strangers. This is what happened next. The cabin lights had just dimmed as Flight 2871 climbed above the last stretch of Dallas suburbs, a warm orange haze fading beneath cottony clouds. In row after row, belts clicked, tablets lit up with kids' shows, and coffee drifted down the aisle in paper cups. It was the kind of quiet every traveler hopes for. A routine Southwest hop to Phoenix, 2 hours of nothing to worry about. No one on board could know that, 45 minutes later, the word routine wouldn't fit anymore. Row 14 was 2/3 of the way back, close enough to hear the galley chatter, far enough to feel the cabin's hush. A woman named Ana Rivera tucked a blanket over her knees and smiled at the man beside her as he reached for the shared armrest. She shifted politely, as you do with strangers in the sky, and returned her eyes to the window. The man's jaw tightened. At first it was a mutter, a whisper of complaint swallowed by engine hum. Then it sharpened into a sentence meant to cut. You people don't respect space. A few heads turned. The woman flinched but kept her voice level. I can give you more room, she said, pulling back as far as the airline geometry allowed. The man's response wasn't words, it was posture. He straightened, fastened his gaze on her, and lifted his chin with the righteousness of someone who believes everyone else is the problem. Sarah Mitchell, 29, had been a flight attendant for 5 years, the kind who knew passenger names before pushback and never left a spilled juice unmopped. She was mid-aisle with a trash bag looped on her wrist when the tone of row 14 changed. It was a sound every crew member knows. Voices hardening, the airflow of a cabin holding its breath. Hi there, Sarah said when she arrived, voice low and warm. Is everything all right today? She angled her body to give the woman a little shield of privacy while still facing the man. If you've never watched a professional de-escalate heat, it looks like grace and geometry. Feet placed, palms open, eyes steady. Mind your business, the man snapped, louder than he intended. A baby somewhere behind them squeaked, a father murmured, "It's okay," to no one in particular. Phones didn't come out yet, but pockets loosened, and a few cameras woke. Sarah didn't bite. "Sir, I'm here to help," she said. "Let's bring the volume down. People are getting frightened." She held his gaze, neither challenging nor yielding. The woman, Anna, turned her face toward the aisle, and Sarah shifted an inch more to stand between them. Then the man stood. The seat back buckled against its hinges, and the aisle swallowed his shoulders. It doesn't take much height to tower over someone if you mean to. He unclenched. Don't tell me what to do, he said. I paid for this seat. Someone coughed out, hey, from row 13, which is airplane for please don't do this. Sarah felt the cabin narrow to a tunnel. Her, the man, the woman behind her breathing in short, embarrassed sips. Training unspooled in her head like a checklist. Space, stance, simple language, non-judgmental tone. Call for backup without moving your eyes. She tapped the service button behind her leg. A chime, soft as a ping in a dream, relayed down the galley. Sir, Sarah said, I can't let you threaten our guests. Please sit down. We'll talk. Her voice didn't waver. You'd think heroism is loud, but in airplanes it arrives like weather. Steady pressure followed by clarity. He leaned in. For a half second, the world held its breath. Then a voice from row 17 cut through. She's right. Sit down. It wasn't a shout. It was a sentence that carried a lifetime of command. The speaker, Jack Thompson, retired Marine, rose halfway out of his seat, never leaving the safety of his row, hands open in view. 2 other passengers nodded, one saying, Come on, man. The chorus didn't taunt. It aft the man's shoulders dropped an inch. Rage is a balloon that pops when the room refuses to feed it. He looked at the eyes on him, calm, firm, unafraid, and something inside let go. He sat. The air in the cabin returned, like a system reboot. Thank you, Sarah told him, and meant it. She crouched just enough to meet Anna's eyes. Are you okay? Anna nodded, but her hands trembled. Sarah repositioned herself, leaving a human buffer between the 2 seats, and signaled to her coworker, Priya, who arrived like a handoff in a relay. Water, napkins, a quiet word with a man in 14B, a firmer one with the interphone. In the cockpit, the captain listened to the report with that split-screen pilot brain. Weather ahead, fuel state, the pulse of 150 people and back. Divert to Albuquerque, he decided. Because safety isn't something you negotiate with luck. Cabin lights lifted a notch. The seatbelt sign chimed on. Sarah made the announcement the way professionals do when calm must be contagious. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be making a brief stop in Albuquerque to ensure everyone's comfort and safety today. We appreciate your patience. Phones were out now, but not in the ugly way, quietly angled, documenting not a meltdown but a practiced ballet. Attendants confer, aisle stays clear, a mom whispers to her toddler, "Look, we're visiting another city." The man in 14B stared at his hands. The tension drained off him like rain sliding down a window. Ermed. Touchdown came gentle. Wheels speaking to runway with soft percussion. The aircraft rolled to a gate where 2 airport police officers waited. When they boarded, everything stayed measured. No spectacle, no jeers. Sarah stood near the conflict like a lighthouse, not to bask in authority but to anchor the moment to dignity. The officers asked the man to join them. He rose, not defiant now, just small. As he stepped into the aisle, he paused, as if to say something to Anna, but Sarah's calm presence redrew the boundaries. He moved on. Applause didn't erupt, at first. It swelled slowly, a rustle becoming a wave, as if the cabin needed permission to exhale. Then it rolled forward. Some clapped for the relief, others for the woman whose space had been restored. Many for Sarah, who had stood where fear wanted a void. During the short ground time, a little girl from row 19 toddled up with a coloring page and 2 stickers. "For you," she said, pinning the stickers, stars, onto Sarah's lanyard. "You're brave." Sarah laughed, a release, and blinked back tears that had waited until the job was temporarily done. Back in the air, the cabin settled into something warmer than before. Strangers traded snacks. Jack Thompson gave a nod that said, "I've got your 6." Sarah made one more pass down the aisle and stopped at row 14. She checked on Anna, offered to move her, and when Anna refused, "I'm okay here," she placed a quiet hand on the headrest and let a full breath move through her body. Later, when a reporter asked her about it, because videos do get posted, even the decent ones, Sarah shrugged. "This is our job," she said. "We're here for safety before anything else. Sometimes safety is a smile. Sometimes it's standing where someone else can't." But inside, she held on to a different truth, the one every good crew member knows. You can't control people, only your presence. On that flight, presence was enough to make a shape the rest of the cabin could fit themselves around. Calm, boundary, care. When Flight 2871 finally rolled to a stop in Phoenix, the sky outside had gone full desert sunset, pink dusted with gold. Passengers stood with the patience of those who just lived through a story and knew not to rush its ending. At the door, a woman gripped Sarah's hand. "You saved us from something," she said. "Not just from him, from what we might have become if we'd answered anger with anger." Sarah smiled. "You all helped," she said. And it was true. The Marine's voice, the mother's hush, the captain's judgment, Priya's water, the quiet courage of a woman who insisted on sitting in her own seat with her own dignity. Heroism isn't a solo sport. It's a relay where the baton is steadiness. As the last passenger stepped onto the jet bridge, Sarah took one more look down the empty aisle. Seatbelts relaxed. Headrests aligned like 100 small horizons. She touched the star stickers on her lanyard and thought of the little girl's certainty. Brave. Not a word she would choose for herself. But guardianship? That fits. It's what the uniform asks for, what the wings promise. In this narrow sky road between takeoff and touchdown, we stand watch. And sometimes, standing watch is exactly what turns a routine flight, almost, into a miracle of ordinary courage. Next time you fly, remember, behind the smiles and service are guardians trained to hold the line. If this story moved you, share it. Somewhere up there tonight, another Sarah is quietly keeping a cabin safe.